Isn't it crazy? Successful business owners suddenly facing bankruptcy, long-term employees being afraid of losing their jobs, and up to a third of the world population in some form of lockdown. We see disruption never seen before in times of peace. For more than 3 months, I haven't hugged my father, and for more than 3 months, I haven't met my team. But isn't it astonishing how we learn to cope and deal with that situation? And I was surprised how fast our IT colleagues could facilitate that we all could work from home. And if you see the efforts of the politicians counterbalancing what's going on, and the creativity of the corporates and self-employed to stay in business. Corona is a huge tragedy, but it's also a catalyst, and it's a huge opportunity. Hello, everyone joining the session. I'm Katharina Hermann, Global Head of Platforms and Beyond Banking, and I drive innovation for retail and SME customers at ING. Today, I'm going to talk about innovation in this kind of disruption. Why am I so passionate about that topic? For more than 10 years, I've been in different board positions. First as CEO in Austria, and then 7 years as head of retail at ING DiBa, the third biggest retail bank in Germany. And it was a great time. And I had the privilege to grow the banking business together with great colleagues and set up innovation projects and huge transformation programs. We introduced agile and platform propositions. And also, together with some selected colleagues, we came up and developed ING's Think Forward strategy. So there is a lot to be proud of. But I decided this is not enough. Innovation is not a part-time job. And so, since now more than 2 years, I dedicate 100% of my energy and passion to drive innovation. Because I'm convinced that for ING's future, this is the most important job I can do. Because let's face it, this crisis will see lots of tragic losers, but it will also see winners. Companies that are striving to the circumstances and that are able to adjust and grab the opportunities. So the big question is, are you ready for this disruption? Let's have a closer look at the situation. The impact of COVID-19 is massive. And if you look at the recent report from the IMF with the title, A Crisis Like No Other, an Uncertain Recovery, it predicts a dramatic economic downturn. And Europe is supposed to be impacted by more than 10% decline. Many companies will struggle. And also, if you look at the quarterly reports, you already see, but if you look at the loan loss provisions, that banks will be impacted as well heavily, especially in the SME and wholesale banking sector. The no interest rate environment combined with this crisis will lead to a lot of banks struggling to live up to the expectations of customers and shareholders alike. On the other hand, we see a huge uptake on digitalization. And I had to smile when I stumbled upon a joke asking, who led your digital transformation? The CEO, the CIO, or COVID-19? And I think the joke is spot on, because it seems to be not only true for small companies that they struggle to get digitalization efforts in really full speed, but also surprisingly big corporates. And I read a quote from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella stating end of April that in the last 2 months, we've seen digitalization progressing that would ordinarily take 2 years. So obviously companies sometimes need such a crisis to develop the necessary speed. But if you look at a recent Roland Berger study, the situation might be worse, because what the study shows is a negative impact on investment in digital, with 30% projects stopped and 50% project freeze, which clearly shows that a lot of companies are focusing on safeguarding their business, which is the exact opposite from what we observe on the consumer side. A lot of people who didn't want to go digital are now nudged or even forced to do so. And I'm convinced that even at a later stage, when all physical opportunities and channels are usable again, we will see a high percentage of them continue to use digital because they experience the ease of use and the convenience of use. So digital transformation will speed up, and mobile will be of utmost importance. COVID-19 confirms the strategy to invest in digital and in mobile. And it is absolutely necessary to adjust to that new reality. It's also true for us, and we already have done a lot in digitalization. But it's necessary to constantly adjust, also to live up to our purpose, to empower people to stay ahead in life and in business. Because there is this saying, who does not go with the time, go with the time. It's really no choice but to embrace the new situation and invest massively in the new opportunity. You have to deliver a perfect customer experience that is catered for mobile and for remote. Because someone will provide that perfect, personal, instant, relevant, and seamless experience. And the customers will go for it. Even with you or with the company that is offering it. They won't wait for you to get your stuff done. Every crisis has seen a large redistribution of market shares. And the big question is, will you be one of the winners? The good news is that end-to-end digitalization is not only great for the customer experience, but it also gets costs out of the system. So digitalization clearly is a no-regret move. But there are other opportunities I like to talk about and that I'm passionate about. And I will share 3 of them that go beyond the obvious digitalization necessity and the necessity to offer the contactless payments or to offer holiday payments for your customers. And the 3 ones are the following. First, embrace the platform game. If you look, you see that platforms truly conquer one industry after another. Meanwhile, 4 out of the 5 biggest companies worldwide are platform players because their business model is superior by bringing producers and consumers together in a seamless and personalized experience. And also, you can serve your customers better if you don't have to fully rely only on your own products. If you are willing to ensure that customers always get a fitting solution by checking, is your product the right one, and opening up also to competitors' product, you can always serve the customer perfectly. And platforms also have the huge advantage of being scalable cross-border at incremental costs, benefiting big time from network effects. So, for example, we looked into housing, and we have seen a lot of opportunities by mapping pain points and gain points and profit potentials, and started a couple of initiatives in the housing space that we found extremely promising, like Scopity, which we have now launched in 5 cities in Germany. And feel free to check it out because it has the potential of disrupt the way people search for houses. Yes, it requires a different capability, different mindset, and a different organization to truly become a platform player. But it's worth the effort because it also can help you short term. And lending is a good example for this one. Because right now, companies and especially SMEs need liquidity. They need extra lending. And if your risk appetite is not meeting that demand, you jeopardize the whole relationship because they expect their banks to be there for them. But if you team up with, for example, a lending platform, you can meet their requests and you can serve way more customers. Those are examples where we are exciting about the platform opportunities. But there is more, and this brings me to the second opportunity, and that is riding the e-commerce wave and supporting SMEs even further. Because what we see is that especially mid-segment e-commerce players struggle, while at the same time they hold the key to future success and growth. Because if you analyze their conversion funnel, you see that 75% of the dropout rate happens between product choice and payment. And by providing a convincing and easy to use identity solution combined with payments, you can provide them with a solution and infra that helps them grow and make more out of their contacts. And it also enables to build convincing loyalty schemes, highly personalized on top of it, like we've done with Device, which is already introduced in Romania and will be rolled out in Germany and Belgium soon. So plenty of opportunity in the SME part, which is important because we see disruption really pending in that segment. And if you want to gain market share, you better act now. The third opportunity is to really look into your operating model and adjust it due to the new circumstances and embrace partnerships. We have analyzed the impact of COVID-19 not only on our banking and investment portfolio, but also really on all of our KPIs. It was partly surprising results. And let me share one example, Mortgage Germany. We expected that the production will go down because it's such a personalized business that needs personal relation. But what we have seen is mortgages at a record level because our digitalization efforts paid off. We have already invested heavily in the end-to-end processes and enabled seamless remote contact and video screening, video sharing. This enabled the customer to, without any problems, shift from branches to the remote advice. Partnerships can help you big time to reduce the time to market. So on the one hand, we invest in interesting opportunities. We have 30 investments done by ING Ventures by now, and over 200 partnerships, which our fintech team is catering for. By embracing these partnerships, we have access to capabilities and services that otherwise would have taken years for us to build. So it's really a huge opportunity, and with our open banking infrastructure and RESTful APIs, we have the possibility to connect with these partners quite easily and add these new services smoothly. And if you struggle to implement meaningful and impactful innovation, let me share some tips, some learnings from successful innovators, but also from our own experience, especially in the last 5 years when we started global innovation with an innovation framework. And let's start with recognizing that the main challenge is not digital, it's human. If you want to be successful in innovation, you need the right mindset. And usually people prefer the known over the unknown. That is the current business over innovation. They know how to stimulate the current business. Yeah, but it's uncertain if the new business model, the new initiative will really provide the expected return on investment in a couple of years. You have to be aware of that fact and tackle it, which brings me to three tips, you can say, how to foster innovation in your company. The first one is innovation needs strong leadership support. You have to explain the why. You have to create the buy-in and the urgency. And of course, we have been extremely lucky with Ralph Hammers as our CEO and now his successor, Steven van der Rijswijk, to put on the agenda innovation as one of the top priorities. And you need that senior management buy-in and commitment, especially under stress. Because usually under pressure, marketing and innovations are the first budgets to be cut. Which brings me to the second point. Innovation needs nurturing. It needs a safeguarded budget because usually innovation needs 5 to 10 years to show really meaningful impact, high market share, and a positive business case. So like Jack Ma, the former CEO of Alibaba, stated, the very important thing you should have is patience. You need long-term commitment of resources and you need dedication to make things happen. But you also need different KPIs than the normal banking ones, which are really more long-term focused. And the third one is innovation needs a strong foundation. It pays off to introduce a clear methodology, a clear process, and to make it part of your innovation culture. And also bring it not only in a small innovation team, but really roll it out through the whole company. Innovation also requires a peripheral approach, especially if you go for disruptive innovation, because you can't demand from someone to grow the current business while at the same time trying to disrupt what you are doing. This is simply not possible. To sum up, the world won't wait for you. You need to embrace the new opportunities and invest in your future. It's really key to survival. At ING, we intend to strengthen ING even further. And at the next conference in November, I might already tell you more about it. I hope that the examples I shared inspires you to go beyond what you had in mind so far. And I hope you enjoy the conference. Thank you very much.
Katharina, thank you very much indeed. That was fantastic. Some really good advice and lots of points that I'd like to ask, but we have limited time. We have a few minutes just to ask a couple of questions from the audience today. Thanks for writing in your questions. That was there were some great ones here. Limited time. Let's try this one first of all. What strategy do you think, Katharina, would be best to move forward? Banking as a service or banking as a platform? Which one do you think will disrupt the market more?
It's an excellent question, and I definitely see both opportunities. So in the end, every company has to see what is the best way forward for themselves. Yeah. With banking as a service, it has a huge advantage that you expose capabilities that you are really extremely strong. Yeah? Services you are already great at, and by offering these services so that they get more used, you improve them further, and you're also getting paid for it. So it's quite a nice spot to be into.
It's a really good question. And quite a balance as well, but it doesn't have to be exclusive. Another quick question here. And it's I guess an opinion piece in some ways, but what non-financial services could be developed on a banking platform? Which areas will give the best added value to customers and profit to bank? Now that will depend, I guess, on the bank and the customers, but any examples do you think, Katharina, that are quite interesting?
Yeah, quite naturally, it's everything that empowers the customer to have a better grip on all their financial matters. To go just beyond the banking and maybe insurance services, but really everything that has a big influence on his financials. Like, for example, also increasingly so subscription managers. But also adjacent services like I mentioned with housing. The opportunities are really
It's good to focus it on the customer need, because that's essentially the only thing that's really relevant, but you have to understand the customer need.
On all financial matters and help the customer make better financial choices.
Well, it's been fantastic, Katharina. Just one final question from me. Who has led the drive to disruption, the CIO, the CEO, or COVID? Which one do you think?
No, as said, we were extremely lucky and still are with our CEO that helped a lot. And we have embraced innovation for a long time. And you can say innovation is in our DNA.
Phew.